Episode 2 in the Narcissist's Bag of Tricks series. Tonight's topic will be how the narcissist or other cluster B variety creature must always seem to play a victim. And this is a two-part thing. They play a victim or a hero. But to victim first. Examples would be, especially like in the idealization phase, when you've just met the person and they just can't get enough of you, but you may uncover something like you find a credit report on their table and it's sick, because many of these people are financially irresponsible, which I have another video on in the narcissistic abuse series. But basically, you'll look at that and think, oh my goodness, this person doesn't pay the bills. But when you question this person, if they're one of these, it won't be their fault. Oh no, they didn't neglect their bills because they're irresponsible. They did because, for example, one I used to know would say, well, because I spent all my money helping everyone else around me and ignored my own bills. Well, that's a red flag for you, because that's not a responsible adult way to behave. I'm sure you can agree. An example of this in real life would be, I knew a person, for example, that couldn't read very well. Couldn't write very well either. And he was like 7 years older than I was. And I noticed one night when he couldn't read some really simple letter, gave it to his wife and said, hey, what's this say? Is this important? I said, well, why don't you know how to read? Because, I mean, that's one of my strengths, is English and reading. Well, his answer was, oh, well, when I went to school, the teachers just didn't know how to teach how to read or write. So I just didn't learn as a result. That was the answer, which I doubt is the truth. But again, these people live in a fantasy world where nothing is their fault. Another example was the bill paying, where, oh, I pay everyone else's bills, not mine. A third one would be, if you're in a later stage with this person, and let's say they become verbally abusive with you. Well, like with me, I can recognize that. So I would, like with one I knew, I'd say, you're being verbally abusive. And the response I would get would be, well, you caused it. And I think, what? I caused you to be verbally abusive? Again, nothing is their fault. You're pointing out something wrong they did, and it's, of course, not their fault. You made them do it. You had the magic power. And it's just sickening, because they use these magical fake thinking patterns and use them in real life as if they're true and real, and you as an adult know that they're not. But chances are they have their hooks in you some other way, so you stick around. Another thing is what they're doing with this victimization / hero. They're impression managing you. They are trying to present a specific, strictly created image for you to believe is true. And basically it's mirrored off of you, so you basically are falling in love with yourself when you see all these characteristics, because chances are when you first met, this person was probably very quiet and just listened to you a lot, and you thought, wow, what a great listener. Nobody listens. Little did you know he or she was storing all the information you were giving into a little file in the brain to use for or against you, depending on which stage they're in at the present time. But they do like to either claim whatever's wrong with them was because of something that's not their fault. The other thing they'll do for the impression management is, if they sense that you're a trusting person, they might say, oh, one day I helped this homeless person. I gave her $100 and a blanket and an outfit to wear, or something like that that doesn't really even sound real, but they'll do that too to make themselves be a hero. Same thing goes if you discover something they did that they shouldn't have. Well, they'll say something like, oh, well, yes, I did hook up with that person, but she tried to rape me. And they'll use things that regular people find to be like taboo or really sensitive, they'll use them at the drop of a hat just to try to explain away the lie you might have caught them in, which I found to be amusing with a few of them. It's like, you were raped and that's why you did. Anyway, it's fake. They're not really raped. They're just using that. But one other piece of this is when they're playing the victim. Well, actually, another example would be when you first meet them and they text you day and night, day and night, and if you don't respond right off the bat, they're going to try to condition you to control. This is their methods of control. They will, if you, let's say they text you at 8 o'clock, hi, good morning. Well, let's say you're busy, and you don't respond because you're busy. Well, at like 9 o'clock, you'll get a second text. Well, I guess you're just too busy for me. Fine, blah, blah, blah. And they'll say that's the part of being a victim. Because they know if you are an empath and you have emotions and you care for others, they know that you can't stand to see another person suffering. So at this point, they're trying to convince you that they are suffering because you didn't respond, so that'll prompt you, manipulation, to grab your phone. Oh, sorry, I was busy, but what they're trying to do is condition you, which means the next time they send you a message, they expect a response right back. And again, they're trying to mold you into this character because eventually their goal is to take over your whole life, but you don't know this yet. And they will never tell you this, so don't ask. But the other thing is, too, with the victimhood, is if they talk to you about their past relationship and their story is, oh, every single one of my exes beat me, cheated on me, lied to me, whatever, red flag, because that's not realistic. And chances are, if every single one did some horrible thing, chances are he's made up the whole story. And the truth is that he actually wronged them. So if he tells you, oh, that one was abusive, he stole my money and beat me up, well, the truth would actually be that he stole the money and he beat the other one up. But, of course, can he really advertise that to a new potential target / victim? No. So he will rearrange history. And if you try to question him or confront him on that, be prepared for narcissistic injury, which means narcissistic rage against you. That does happen. Like if you were to go back and find that ex and talk to him and say to him, I just talked to your ex and he said that you stole $100,000 out of his account and skipped town. Well, guess what you'll get? Again, nothing is his fault, even if that's the absolute truth. The response you'll get will be, you're going to believe that fool? He's abusive. He's a liar. He's trying to get you. He wants you. And stuff like that goes on. And it's like, this is a surreal Twilight Zone world. But yes, those things actually happen where they might even again play a victim and say, so you're going to believe him over what I've told you? Well, actually, yes. With a person like this, anybody else, even a stranger on the street, is more reliable. But you're causing narcissistic rage when you confront their fake persona and point out, like, I don't really believe you were his victim. I think maybe you were the perpetrator. Forget it. You'll be attacked. I can't believe you'd say that. Oh, and then they won't talk to you, or they do one of their other techniques. And it's just sickening because normally with this type of person, they have a whole trail of trash behind them. And they're not going to claim it as their own and causing or doing. No, it's somebody else's. So look out for that. Just listen, because most well-adjusted people could go down a list of, let's say, the last 3 relationships and say, well, this one I wasn't really attentive enough and she left me. This one, though, she was evil and did that. But this one, it was a mix. I mean, that's more realistic. But if they just claim, oh, they all cheated, they all lied, I don't believe that. But you proceed at your own risk. Hear such horror stories that are so dramatic about this person's exes, it's a good idea to just do a mental exercise and just put yourself in the place of the fact that maybe he did do that to them. Because what normally happens is he tries to gain your trust and turn you against his ex, as he does and pulls the same techniques on you. And guess what happens? The same cycle repeats. Once he steals your money, disappears, scams you, whatever the case, he'll run off to the next fresh victim and tell them how you ran off with his money, how you scammed him, how you are so horrible. And that's just the way these people work. And it's kind of sickening because they all follow the same textbook. They all follow the same rules, and it's nice we can bring awareness. So if you're involved with one of these things, you'll at least know what it is. But again, don't tell them, I think I know this is what you are, because that will pull you right into their labyrinth and eventually to your destruction.